Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Whiskey Warehouse. I'm your host, Nick. Today, I decided to make a trip to Kentucky to do some hunting, maybe stop by a couple distilleries since I had the day off. In my line of work, especially in the spring and summer, it's very busy, so I rarely get a day off. So, my boss let me get today off, so I'm taking advantage of it. So I'm going down to New Riff, which is right in our backyard. We're in Cincinnati, so it's in Newport, only about 30, 40 minutes from us. So I'm going to do a tour there, maybe pick up a bottle or two, and maybe some other stuff. I don't know. We'll see. I'll let you guys know how it is. Right now, I'm making a couple stops along the way. Right now, I'm on my way to a couple drops and to a couple liquor stores in our area that I know are dropping today. So far this week, which is the last week in April, the day of this recording, I'm not sure when I'm going to post this, but I'm looking for this Ohio liquor store pick of Yellowstone. Yellowstone is made by Limestone Branch, and it is a pretty solid bourbon at 93 proof. Can't remember the age. I feel like it's at least 4 years or five or something like that. But the barrel picks are set to above 100 proof or at cask strength. And Ohio Liquor picked out, I think, 6 to 8 barrels of it, and they vary in proof. And I think they're all about the same price. I think they're about $60. But I'm looking for the 115 proofer, so I'm hoping to find that sometime this week. But I haven't really had any luck finding Ohio Liquor store picks in the past few weeks. Last week, a Crown Royal hand selected barrel pick was picked by Ohio Liquor. I could not find that. That only dropped, I think, in like the mid and upper Ohio. So I've only had that once. My buddy Russ had me try it. Actually, he brought a bottle of it to my wedding, and it was freaking delicious. For those of you shaking your heads, yeah, I know Crown Royal isn't one of the not even okay sippers. It's more of a mixer, but the hand selected barrel is above 100 proof. I think around 105 to 110. It depends on the barrel, but it's very velvety smooth, very well rounded, and yeah, it just doesn't taste its proof. It just blows regular Crown Royal right out of the water. And it almost tastes like an Irish whiskey. It's very buttery, almost reminds me of Redbreast cask strength. But anyway, I'm ranting. So I will keep you guys in the loop. I'm about to pull in here to one of my local liquor stores, and I'll keep you in the loop and see if I find anything worth telling. All right, see you guys then. Hey guys, I am back. So I stopped by this couple spots on the way to Kentucky. Didn't really have much different from what we usually get dropped here in the Cincinnati area. I'm sure those of you listening know this. Ohio is a weather state, so we get weather green and sometimes red pretty frequently if you know where to look. So the places I had just had weather green, and you might be like, "Oh, why'd you skip out on that? That's rare." Not really around here, but if you've never had it or would like to try it, we'd happily send you a sample of it. I've got a couple bottles at home. Or if you'd like to do a trade, I'll trade you a full bottle of, something for something maybe we haven't had. I don't know. We've been doing that with some of our followers, like Sam. We traded him a bottle of Weller Antique for a store pick of a Elijah Craig Private Barrel. He works at I think he works at a bourbon bar, and it was actually their pick, so it was really cool. I'm very excited to try that. The first impressions of that should be coming out relatively soon, and I thought I missed my turn. Anyway, yeah, I can't wait to try that Elijah Craig Private Barrel. Never had one before. Been looking, and Sam, you made it happen. Cheers to you, buddy. So I am on my way to another spot, actually in Kentucky. I don't know if they dropped today. It's in the area of New Riff, not Party Source, but it's in the general area. It's only about 5 minutes from New Riff, so I'm gonna spend some time maybe looking around. Maybe they got a store pick in today or something, because they get quite a few store picks and allocated, bourbons. That's actually where I got a bottle of Elijah Craig barrel proof batch C921. Yeah, I picked it up a few months ago. I'm not sure if I popped that or not. I'm gonna have to check on that. But once I get out of that liquor store, probably won't hear from me until after the New Riff tour, because I'll probably go from that liquor store straight to New Riff. So I will talk to you guys afterwards and let you know how my experience was. All right. See you then. Cheers. Hey guys, back. Welcome back to the Whiskey Warehouse podcast. Just did a tour with New Riff and walked away with several bottles, and a really cool experience. So what I went to was actually the still house where they fermented and distilled all the bourbon. They age it and barrel it on their West Campus, which is a different location to where I was at. So they took us on a tour. It wasn't very long, maybe an hour, or not even an hour, like a half an hour, 45 minutes. Took us through the fermentation process, showed us the still, all that stuff. Keep this short because I'm kind of baking in the car here. I'm actually at this bourbon bar. I've heard it's the best bourbon bar in Kentucky. It's in Newport. It's called Newberry Coffee House. Hold on, give me a second. I have it pulled up. Where is it? It is, yeah, Newberry Bros Coffee Prohibition Bourbon Bar. So I'm going to hit this up next and talk to you guys afterwards. But when it comes to New Riff, at the end of the tour, awesome tour by this guy. I can't remember his name, but did a really great job. At the end of the tour, we got a sampling of five of their whiskeys, which included their straight bourbon bonded. Most of their regular bourbon and rye are bottle and bond. So it's the bottom bond bourbon, which is like their basic stuff, and then the single barrel, which is very tasty. And then we had their regular rye, and then their single barrel rye, and then their malted rye, which is the 6 year, the highest aged whiskey that they have. Very good, very tasty. I came home with a bottle, or I bought a bottle of the malted rye. They had many single barrel options. One single barrel that was picked by their master distiller, and then I picked up a single barrel rye as well, because it was very tasty when we tasted it. Very good stuff. I'd highly recommend doing a tour with them. I really want to do a barrel proof tour. The one that I went on was the bonded tour. So barrel proof tour is only twice a month, every other Wednesday, and it's like at 7 p.m. I really want to bring Sarah, my wife, on that. I think that'd be really fun. And I bought a couple of things, a couple t-shirts, a Glencairn, a magnet, touristy stuff, even though I live like 30 minutes away. But yeah, overall great experience. Would highly recommend it. All their whiskeys did not disappoint. Pretty complex, especially their rye. Rye kind of blew me away. Yeah, would highly recommend it. So on my way home, after I go into this bourbon bar, I might get a couple samples of something I've never had before, and I'll tell you guys about that. All right, stay tuned, and we'll see you in a little bit. Cheers.
Guys, remember that room bar that I was going to go to? Yeah, they're closed every day, or they're open every day but Wednesday, and today happens to be Wednesday, so they're closed. And all the distilleries that I was going to drop by, I was going to drop by maybe one after New Riff, but they're all closed too. So I decided to get some lunch at this local burger place, and then I stopped by Hofbrauhaus, which is this German restaurant here in Newport. So German food, German beer, delicious German beer. So I got me a pint or whatever. I think it was a liter. That was a lot of beer. But I needed the carbs to kind of help me sober up, drive back home. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. On my way home and gonna do a couple errands for my wife. Gonna stop by and pick up a cake and some other stuff. So in conclusion, I know this may be a shorter podcast, but I kind of do better kind of riffing off someone else. Doing it alone, it's kind of, I mean, I'm not a big talker anyway, so I'm just trying to do what I can. I appreciate you guys listening. So in conclusion, New Riff is extremely underrated. They're not even, well, actually they're going to be 8 years old in, I think, a week. And, yeah, they're relatively new. Really cool story behind them. I recommend doing some research on them. Really good products. Their ryes especially stand out, I think. Their bourbon's pretty good, but their bonded rye and their single barrel ryes are damn tasty. They're not too peppery like most ryes are. I mean, I'm not a huge rye guy myself, but I do appreciate like the smooth, like minty spearmint, you know, that kind of thing going on, and that's, you know, the main note of that. And the malted rye that I picked up is, like I said before, their longest aged whiskey that they've released yet at 6 years. And it's used with a special kind of rye, some kind of process that they use. New Riff didn't do it specifically, but there's some company that provided the grain did it for them. I'm not sure if it's exactly cooking the rye before they ferment it. I forget. It was a long process. They told me they try to do the process themselves, and they're like, "Fuck that shit." It was a huge process, and I mean they're used to distilling, so it's got to be a really long process because distilling whiskey, you're making bourbon, it's a long process in itself. So anyway, I picked up a bottle. I'm probably gonna do a first impressions on that. It's not released already on Friday, so a day before this podcast is released, I plan on releasing this Saturday, following the Wednesday that I'm actually recording this. So appreciate all of you guys listening in. If you'd be so kind, follow us on Instagram. That's where we are most active. Almost at 2,000 followers. Greatly appreciate you following us. Our whiskey journey. It came a long way. It's been around 3 years now. We started in 2019. Me and Dylan had this idea of making a whiskey review channel. It was kind of his idea, and I kind of gave him the incentive, and I came up with the name Whiskey Warehouse. It was actually initially Whiskey Wednesdays, which, now that I think of it, it's pretty dumb. But, yeah, Whiskey Warehouse was established about 6 months before or after we made our actual YouTube channel. So, yeah, speaking of YouTube, follow us on YouTube. We're trying to reach 1,000 followers so we can kind of try to build a community on there. Go to youtube.com/Whiskey Warehouse. This will be posted on YouTube as well. Make sure to like the video, comment down below if you have any podcast ideas. It's kind of hard for me, Dylan, to get together, so that's why I've been kind of doing some solo things, that thing with Trent, and then me doing this. So given the opportunity, I'll try to make some content out of something. Another thing that I had an idea about is Boone County Distillery. Is this other craft distillery that's on the craft bourbon tour, or craft Kentucky bourbon tour in northern Kentucky. It's about 20 minutes away from New Riff. I was going to go there, but I don't really have time since I have to do some errands. But that's probably going to be the next podcast subject if me and Dylan don't post one before that. So, yeah. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Really appreciate it. We'll see you guys in the next podcast.